It is day 19 of Russian invasion of Ukraine, and the Ukrainian resistance is holding up. Air raids alerts have sounded off in 19 of 24 Ukrainian regions. A school in the city of Mykolaiv was hit by Russian missile. Russia has targeted key Ukrainian facilities, especially Ukrainian air defense. Russians have also destroyed several Ukrainian airfields. You can see all those visuals of devastation, destruction, despair on your screens right now. Baishiv village of Ukraine also came under the Russian missile attack, where multiple houses and buildings were damaged. Ukrainian forces have shot down 4 planes and 3 choppers on Sunday.
In a local area where there is no another military installation except of residential buildings, TV tower, new business centers and students' residences. There is the same 5-floor building where my father grew up and still lives my grandma. And here, 2 steps away, stands Dovzhenka Cinema, where every week I went to see new movie with my friends and family. It's terrible to see that because of imperial ambitions of one little cohort, it all collapses. I don't think anyone wants to be deprived on what makes you happy. Let's stop it together. Everything will be Ukraine.
As Russia ups the ante against Ukraine, President Zelensky continues to lead from the front. On Sunday, Zelensky visited a military hospital in Kyiv to meet the wounded soldiers. Zelensky can be seen clicking pictures with the wounded soldiers who are being treated in the hospital.
Поправляйся обязательно.
Тому ми свій обов'язок виконуємо.
Як відділення, полковник
Академік академічних наук Генеральної відставці Лурін.
Ми переможемо. 100%. Добрий день, бажаю здоров'я. Ну як ви, хлопці? Хорошо. Та не хорошо. Хорошо. Нормально? Нормально. Молодці, дуже круто. Міцні хлопці. Давно?
А нещодавно.
Нещодавно?
5-го числа. Ні, 6-го. 6-го.
Потерпінню. І за мир.
Reiterating his demand for closing the skies of Ukraine, Zelensky warned that it is just a matter of time before Russian missiles hit the NATO territory. Zelensky also said that Russia will begin a war and Moscow won't bat an eyelid before using Nord Stream 2 as a weapon. Ukraine has also insisted on talks directly between the two presidents, Zelensky and Putin, saying that only a meeting between the top leaders could bring peace.
Обстрілу Міжнародного центру миротворчості та безпеки загинуло 35 людей. Ще 134 людини отримали поранення. Там не відбувалось нічого, що могло би загрожувати території Російської Федерації. І всього лише у 20 кілометрах звідти кордони НАТО. В минулому році я чітко попереджав лідерів НАТО, якщо не буде жорстких превентивних санкцій проти Російської Федерації, вона піде війною. Ми були праві. Я говорив протягом довгого часу, Північний потік – це зброя, яка ударить по всій Європі. Тепер це очевидно. І зараз я повторюю знову, якщо ви не закриєте наше небо, то це лише питання часу, коли російські ракети впадуть вже на вашу територію, на територію НАТО, на домівки громадян країн НАТО.
The war rages on as invaders from across the border try to overrun Ukraine. Russian forces are relentlessly moving towards the capital Kyiv. Their ordered objective now is to get rid of the man who has rallied his country to stand and fight. President Zelensky is an unlikely hero, an unassuming wartime leader of a country under siege. Here is the puny David of Ukraine against the Russian Goliath of a bully, a man who thought comedy was his forte, caught in the tragic role of a president of a nation invaded. And yet, It is in this role that President Zelensky has found his largest audience ever, the people of the world.
Of sovereignty and of territorial integrity.
Всім добрий вечір. Лідер фракції тут, голова Офісу президента тут, прем'єр-міністр Шмигаль тут, Подоляк тут, президент тут.
His is the voice of defiance, a call from the heart that has gone out and firmed the defense of Ukraine against the forces of invasion.
I'm here to protect my wife, my family, myself, my country from the Russian invasion.
We will fight for our land and we will kill all Russians.
If somebody give me a weapon, I will fight. I'm not afraid.
Once again, I appeal to the servicemen of Ukrainian armed forces. Don't let neo-Nazis and Banderites use your children, your wives, and old people as human shields. Take power into your own hands. It seems that it will be easier for us to come to terms with you than with this gang of drug addicts and neo-Nazis who settled in Kyiv and took all Ukrainian people hostage.
Volodymyr Zelenskyy was born in 1978 into a Russian-speaking Jewish family of the then Soviet Socialist Republic of Ukraine. His father was a professor of mathematics and his mother had studied engineering. The town of his birth, Kyiv, stands next to Babi Yar, where 33,771 Jews were shot and thrown into a ravine over the course of 2 days in 1941 and earned a degree in it, only to found a TV entertainment company. Zelensky found success in his vaudeville act. He and a few friends created a comedy troupe that became a famous act not just in Ukraine as well as other Russian-speaking regions of a post-Soviet world. The prism through which Volodymyr Zelenskyy viewed the world changed when Vladimir Putin invaded the land of his birth in 2014. That was what made him take his first political step. He donated a fortune to arm the then weak army of Ukraine. He chose his side when he relocated his production company to Kyiv and began to fully master the Ukrainian language. Something that was to be a big help when he played the most successful comic role of his life. In the TV series Servant of the People, Zelensky plays a school history teacher whose rant against the rampant corruption in government gets recorded without his knowledge by a student and is posted on social media. The video goes viral, and without even wanting the job, the teacher gets elected president of Ukraine. And then, through set pieces, bumbles his way to become a heroic leader of his country. On 20th of May 2019, facts overtook fiction when the 41-year-old Volodymyr Zelenskyy took the oath of the highest office in Ukraine. And when the new president had to make his inaugural address, he said it wasn't just me who took the oath. He said each of us put a hand on the Constitution and each of us has sworn loyalty to Ukraine. It was an oath of loyalty that the unlikely politician would prove himself worthy of in the conflicts to come. Despite the fact that entertainers entering politics are viewed, if not with suspicion, but certainly with skepticism.
Наявною у нас інформацією ворог позначив мене як ціль номер 1, мою родину як ціль номер 2.
President Volodymyr Zelenskyy of Ukraine is believed to be number 1 on Vladimir Putin's hit list. Western intelligence agencies have claimed this, and Zelensky himself has acknowledged it. He says his family is second on the list, but that he and they will remain in Ukraine. He categorically turned down a US offer of evacuation. Instead, he asked for arms.
Nobody will force us Ukrainians to give away our freedom, our independence, our sovereignty. But it looks like the Russian leadership is trying to do it just by the way of destroying their own country.
To prove that he is still there and not running away, the president of Ukraine has been regularly posting self-taken videos in front of the very recognizable presidential palace, telling the people of Ukraine that he is living up to his promise, even if he has to die for it. Volodymyr Zelenskyy, the president of Ukraine, is playing the role of a lifetime, has more than established the contrast with his nemesis, with whom he shares a first name, the meaning of which ironically means ruler of the world. When Vladimir Putin ordered his troops to invade Ukraine, he possibly made one miscalculation. He had not accounted for the stellar performance that his opponent was capable of giving, a role that has touched the heartstrings of audiences across the globe. Whatever be the outcome of this war in Ukraine, history will record Zelensky as the hero in shining armor, while Putin has already joined the ranks of all-time world villains like Hitler and Stalin. When the world's a stage and everyone is but an actor in it, there is no doubting that Volodymyr Zelenskyy of Ukraine stands at the edge of that stage, where life meets performance and only truth shines forth.
Russian airstrikes in a military airbase in western Ukraine has led to multiple casualties. Over 30 people have lost their lives. As many as 30 rockets hit the base. Here's a report on the deadly air attack.
A Russian airstrike hit a large military base in western Ukraine on Sunday, extending the conflict into new areas. At least 35 people died and more than 130 were wounded, according to Regional Governor Maxim Kozitsky. He said Russian planes fired around 30 rockets at the facility, but some were intercepted. Reuters was unable to verify his statement. Britain said the incident at the extensive Yavoriv base, just 15 miles from the border with NATO member Poland, marked a significant escalation. It also heightens fears that Russia's invasion of Ukraine could spill over into neighbouring NATO member states. US President Joe Biden has previously said NATO would defend every inch of its territory if that happened. Intensive Russian attacks have been reported around the country. In Chernihiv, around 100 miles northeast of Kyiv, firefighters rescued residents from a burning building after heavy shelling, verified video from Ukraine's emergency services showed. Moscow denies targeting civilians. Ukraine also reported renewed airstrikes on an airport in the west and attacks on the southern town of Mykolaiv, where officials said 9 people were killed. Ukraine's human rights monitor said Russia used phosphorus bombs in an overnight attack on the town of Popasna in the eastern Luhansk region. Reuters has not verified those reports. In the southern port city of Kherson, more than 400 people were detained by Russia's National Guard as they protested against Russia's occupation of the area, according to Ukraine's military high command. Despite the violence, both Russia and Ukraine said they thought progress could be made at peace talks, 18 days after Moscow launched what it calls a special military operation. A Ukrainian delegate said Russia was beginning to, quote, talk constructively, and results were possible in a matter of days. A Russian delegate also said they'd made significant progress.
It's a wrap from me, Chaiti Narula, on this bulletin. Stay tuned for the latest news and updates. For more news and updates, don't forget to log on to indiatoday.in or download the app. I'll see you in just about a bit with the top headlines.